This is the Ninja Rob Podcast with Marco Perazzo and Tim Carpenter. The podcast for the true martial artist.
I want to congratulate you guys on how well run and sounding the last episode was. I thought Tim did a great job. His deep dive into urban gang culture was amazing. I really feel like it was his Linsanity moment.
There you go.
Yeah. It was your Linsanity moment.
So it'll never happen again?
Basically. Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah, you're off. You're off the show.
Yeah, exactly. Your Linsanity moment. Jeremy Lin. See, look, we're not trying to perpetuate any Asian hate here.
No,
Okay. So Jeremy Lin is a famous NBA player that kind of had a run in basketball that they called it Linsanity. He was just doing so well. And then
You don't remember that, bro. You don't remember when... Listen, no, but this is different. I don't watch basketball. But there was a moment a few years ago where this Asian guy all of a sudden was like the
Balling
star
out of his
player
mind.
out
Yeah,
of his mind. And
that's what it felt like you were doing on last week's show.
I was never Linsane.
was it, hold on,
Gotcha.
I don't want to misquote anybody. Was it Kobe Bryant that said he didn't know who Jeremy Lin was?
I'm not sure.
No, I know somebody came at him for wearing dreads, and then he came back at him for that same guy had Kenya Martin, I think, came at
No,
him.
I remember that.
Yeah,
I remember.
and then
that.
and then Linsanity said, "You got Asian symbols on your
Yep.
on your arm." So Tim, congratulations, man. That was your
Thanks, man.
your high watermark for
Thank
podcasting. Have you looked any deeper into the urban gang culture?
Yeah, well, like I said, I think me, JB, and Dev, we're gonna start our own.
There it is.
We had talked about it last week.
So what are
You won't. Unfortunately, you don't have the.
I don't have
chops.
the street. I don't have the
You
street cred. The
to
street
get
cred.
into it, but so we're gonna do our own thing.
So was it the Sharks and the Jets in Westchester that you were a part of? Which one?
I was not a part of any game.
No.
We're the sons of.
No, don't say. Listen, AH.
We were the,
Sons of AH.
I was not going to
Listen,
say
man, leave AH out of this.
Leave it
man.
out.
we were the sons of Joe Biden.
Oh,
All right.
whoa. Scrappy kid from
A
Scranton.
little scrappy.
Scrappy guy from Scranton.
Shifting gears a little bit.
Mr. President, to you.
Tim, if it's okay, I'd like to move away out of urban gang talk. That
All right. Yeah, like I said, we'll do it on our podcast.
seems to be your wheelhouse.
Yeah, we'll do it on.
I
our
hope
podcast.
you know this episode has to be called The Sons of Joe Biden.
There you go.
Anyway, rest in peace to Aaron Hirschhorn. Who was
Man.
Yeah, Aaron was a guy we knew from Maxercise. Just recently passed away. 42 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was on a like a motorized surfboard or paddleboard. I guess apparently got hit by a boat or something. 42 years old. I hadn't talked to him in like 20, 25
He
years.
had won Shark Tank. It said,
He won a
right?
shark. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yo, and he sold 5% or 10% of his company for $500,000.
Wow.
So what you can see, hopefully his family and his kids are doing well financially. It sucks that he's not going to be around anymore, but man, I caught a text or I got a text about it, and it was like, wow, crazy.
He was when I first went to Maxercise. Like when I first went to Maxercise, I had trained judo for like 2 years, so I was able to like handle myself with most of the guys there. Like most of the blue belts I could handle, and he was a very small guy, and I was like 300 pounds, and he fucked me up.
Extremely obese.
Yeah, but he fucked me up, and that was the first time where I saw like how powerful jiu-jitsu was. Like this guy's like he was a 3 or 4 stripe blue belt when I first started.
Yeah, and he was in like athlete, like in good shape.
Yeah, but he was only like
small.
135, 140 pounds maybe.
What impressed me the
shit.
most about this kid, and I never seen it before, is Helson Gracie would come, or any of the Gracies would come and do seminars, and they were like, you had to look down at their feet if you were going to talk to them. That's
Really?
well, I mean, I'm exaggerating, but nobody ever asked them to train. And Aaron goes up to Helson and he said, "Helson, I'd like to train with you a little bit." And I was like, at first I was like, "Oh my God, what's going on here?" And I don't think Helson wanted to train with them for various reasons, but then he did. But I was like, all right, good for him, man. That was kind
The
of
other cool thing about him was that he would beat the shit out of me, but then he was always very like complimentary. He's like, "You're gonna be really good one day, man." He's like, "Keep doing this, man. It's fun to roll with you."
Unfortunately, he didn't really see the future well, but
No, he was a very nice dude.
yeah,
He
nice.
did
dude.
well on Shark Tank, apparently.
Yeah.
They write about you.
I don't know if anybody talked to him from those days, but rest in peace.
I
to Aaron
wonder if
Hirschhorn.
he was still training.
Hey, it would be interesting to know.
Because like he was one of the guys like I looked up to when I started. Like he was just like like one of the first guys where I was like, man, this is like different than what I'm used to.
Yeah, and he was
different kind of grappling than what I'm used
but
to.
also he was using his athleticism to make his jiu-jitsu more effective. He wasn't kind of lay and pray and sit and wait from what I recall. He was like, hey, I'm going
He's
to
aggressive.
He was aggressive for sure. And
where was he? Where did he? He was in Florida.
it was, I think, in Miami somewhere when he passed away. But yeah, then I had a funeral to go to a couple weeks ago. I haven't been to a funeral in a long time. My 85-year-old friend Louis Chait passed away. Literally, he was in a pine box at his funeral. Here was a guy that he's 85 years. Louis Chait. I think you might have went to a dinner with us one time at the saloon, and he was there. Older gentleman. You never been to the saloon?
Man, that was a great meal.
That was a great meal.
I wasn't there. I know you guys went.
Right.
Great one.
So
I was not there.
This guy, man, stories. Talk about women jumping out of his second floor apartment when his wife came home.
Told me about this.
Yes.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Been to prison a few times for not paying his child support. I know Tim can get behind that.
I mean, there's better crimes to go to.
No. But what he should have been going to jail
like
for
what,
was,
Tim? Like the one that like the kind that you went to jail for?
He hated his ex-wife so much.
Prison or jail?
He went to prison. He hated his ex-wife so much that he said, I'd much rather go to jail for this or prison than pay her. He's a man of conviction.
Yeah, I believe.
And convicted,
jail,
obviously.
it should be worth it.
But he ran roughshod over Atlantic City with the boys back in the day when the boys were the boys. They were boys. Yeah. Apparently they shook down the hot dog people. You had a hot dog cart in Atlantic City. If you didn't pay these guys, you didn't have a hot dog cart anymore.
He ran a protection racket?
Well, he was part of the collection. He's like the Meyer Lansky, And he also apparently beat RICO charges too.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's heavy duty.
Yeah.
Heavy duty.
Tied into politics. So rest in peace to Lewis. And then JB let me know about a passing. That was very surprising.
6 years ago. We were talking about the Biggie song, I Got a Story to Tell, and how it came out that it may have been about Anthony Mason.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said, they said it after he died. And Mark was like, he's dead? I was like, bro, I think he's been gone for a long time now. Yo, he died 6 years ago.
It cut me deep, though.
It did. You cared. You did care.
Yeah.
Son, he was 42, I think.
Listen, man, prayers for DMX.
Right
now.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Overdose.
Really?
Yeah.
The dog?
The dog,
Hey,
man.
Yeah, speaking of rappers and stuff, I was sitting in my car and a Rick James song comes on.
Nice.
And my daughter starts singing MC Hammer.
Yes.
Right? And
of course.
And I go, what do you? She goes, yeah, it's and the song keeps playing and it's not the MC Hammer song. So I put the MC Hammer song on for her. I said, where do you know this song from? It's on a Cheetos commercial, Dad.
Yes.
I started laughing.
Wow.
Yeah, right?
Listen, all the stuff is all the music that we grew up to, all those artists, they're all Rakim did like a Sprite commercial. Not
Yeah.
Ago, so.
But now maybe Tim can interject because I had no idea how deep in the gang culture MC Hammer was. Or possibly is.
The one thing I heard is that he wasn't to be fooled with. There's a lot of good stories about him, like, not taking anybody's shit, but
So when those dudes from third base came at him and then they went out to the West Coast, they were not very safe. You know the guys from third base, right?
I mean, but they're not very intimidating fellas.
Yeah, but they came at MC Hammer pretty hard. And then apparently
when you say they came at him,
yes.
How did they come at him? Like physically they came after him or they said things.
So on the song, they said they were going to turn his mother out. Right? They were alluding to MC Hammer.
So you know what? Do you know what "Turn This Mother Out" is?
Turn
this mother out.
I know that song.
So it's like a play on words for them to say, "You got a song called Turn This Mother Out. We're going to turn your mother out."
Right.
It's pretty disrespectful.
Wait, turn this mother out. That's an old song, right?
But it's a MC Hammer song,
right?
Like a sample.
He didn't write it. He sampled it, right?
Yeah, but you know what he's talking about.
See, your Linsanity moment's over, and you're ruining this podcast right now. Right?
I'm ruining this podcast.
But yeah, so you'll hear the MC Search for third base talk about how like they had to get deep in the connections into some Bloods and some Crips to make sure that they didn't get killed when they went out to San Francisco
fascinating.
Oakland.
crazy.
Incredible.
Yeah. All right, well, we could get into other stuff I'm into too.
Huh?
Can we talk?
No, I want to hear more about what third base did to avoid getting
gang murdered
by MC Hammer.
No, you know what? I don't
Fascinating information.
I don't really believe.
When were these guys relevant?
No, that's all right. That's all right.
I remember
we'll move
MC
on.
Hammer when I was in like 8th grade.
Well, you got to remember,
all the kids on my school bus loved that song.
third base had MC Search.
Yes.
MC Search is the reason why we have Nas.
yes
Yeah.
So that's a very, very
So Tim,
Even more fascinating.
and Nas is why we have Little Nas X, who you
no,
know
that's
intimately.
not why. That's not why we have Little Nas X at all. Not at all. Do you know who Little Nas X is?
He's the gay guy that get butt fucked by the devil.
Yes.
Blood Sneaker. Right.
My lovely wife Nicolette really likes that song.
Oh man.
oh yeah
Oh man.
I've been speaking of hip hop. I've been listening to. I've heard she introduced me to
Machine Gun Kelly.
No, she introduced me to Lil Nas X and
Oh.
his gay rap, and then she also
So
introduced me to
Tim calls it at home. Oh, we're gonna listen to Grap. Nothing.
And then she also introduced me to the Catch Me Outside girl. Her rap.
Wait,
yeah.
wait.
She's really
You
good.
talking about Bod Bunny?
Yeah,
Bod
yeah,
Baby?
yeah.
Bod
She's
Baby?
she's really good. I really like her music.
Yo, speaking of white gangsters, you posted that the kid from the Midwest
It was false reports.
Well, really?
Yeah, man. The kid came out with and it's crazy because I would think he was more Instagram famous
mean
because
the
he's so
Crip?
legendary.
the white Crip
Yes,
Yeah.
the white Crip. He's a legend to me and all my friends,
Right.
man.
On,
You know
though,
what I'm saying?
I ain't got time for that today.
It's like
Oh, he
I got
just-
time today, cuz.
No, actually,
but-
it's today I got time.
Today I got time, cuz.
Man,
No,
I
he's
knew
he's no longer
getting
with
back
us, right?
to gang talk
Yeah,
would pull you out of
this
your
is
shell.
my thing.
That's why we got the blue headphones
I don't want to
on.
hear
That's it,
about
but
MC
wait.
Hammer. I want to hear about this
Today,
white Crip.
today I
White
got
Today
time.
I got time.
Yeah, but he's rested. So, Marco,
So is he dead or is he not dead?
No, he's not dead. And he
Wait,
came
he's
out with
not?
he's not
I
dead.
thought
And
his
he,
mom said he was.
no, he's not dead. And he put out a video that's hilarious of him talking, saying, "Yeah, y'all got me fucked up. Ain't nobody gonna smoke me." Yeah.
The
Today,
only reason I know about this is because I follow you. On
Oh, okay. Because I don't do any of that.
Well, I was going to get into coffee and Formula One talk, but I really don't even know if I could follow up with any of that right now. So my newest hobby is coffee, but we could get into that later. But rumors, like what is the kid's name that we thought was dead that's not dead?
nobody knows his name.
What do
okay.
you? Catch Me Outside? No, that's the girl.
Catch Me Outside is
Catch Me Outside got. I don't know if she got naked, but she made $1 million in 6 hours.
yeah.
God bless her.
She's 18 now.
She
though.
just turned
She just
18.
So who's the white Crip? What is his famous line, Tim, that you know so
I
well?
don't know. It's Today I Got Time. I think that's his name.
Today I got time, cuz.
Today I got time.
He
cuz.
said,
Okay.
because when you saw me before, I was doing something.
I was busy.
I
but
was
today,
busy,
Today I
but
got time.
today, run me my fade.
Really?
Yeah. He was just like, today I got
it's
time.
so neat when white people do things that other people do, and it's just like, look at that, isn't that cool?
No, yeah. We definitely accept white
not
people upon instantly doing anything within our culture.
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
eat something that we eat, we're just like, bring him home. He's
That's it,
one of us.
that's
We
it. Nah,
love him.
100%.
And as soon as he said, today I got time, cousin, he stepped back. He said, I'm going to keep it G real.
Yeah.
You asked me, asked me how gangster I was, told me to take off my flag.
Well, there's
doesn't
certain
seem
things
real.
that a white guy would get immediately murdered for if he did.
Yeah.
Part of your culture.
This
But
is
not
no.
necessarily.
So I'm gonna tell you this. This is how crazy this guy was. He somehow pulled off a spiritual hoodness where he used the N-word multiple times.
I saw him in a barber shop, Crip walking, dancing,
Throwing up signs with all black
kinds of
dudes,
hand signals.
all stacking. They call that stacking.
Yeah, that's called stacking.
He's so immersed
Tim, you
in
knew
it.
that. You knew it's stacking.
Oh
Yeah, stacking. He's so immersed, and he was using the N-word multiple times, and it's been shared by our people throughout time. He's been a legend. It's crazy. Don't try this at home. Don't.
There's some
So
things
he's
that
not
they
dead.
allow. They allow. Okay, because
And that was a rumor. There's a rumor he was dead.
He was dead.
And there's another rumor going around, Tim, and I hate to break it to you. We're going to talk some martial arts today. All right? So that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is going to be in the Olympics.
Was that an April Fool's joke?
Was it an
I'm
April Fool?
assuming.
It was being shared widely on April Fool's.
So let's suspend disbelief. Then let's talk martial arts today.
Okay.
Right? I don't know. It's kind of tough for you. what do you think of the benefits? Say if jiu-jitsu were to get into the Olympics.
The benefits?
Yeah.
It would make the Olympics worth watching.
The Olympics are not worth watching now without jiu-jitsu.
Take that.
Really?
There's like 2 or 3 sports that are worth watching.
Like what?
Wrestling, boxing, judo.
I wouldn't want to watch
No.
Olympic boxing.
I love watching women powerlift. I'm a big fan of powerlifting.
They don't have that in the Olympics. They have
They do.
Olympic weightlifting in the Olympics.
That,
Oh,
whatever
They don't
that
have
is.
powerlifting.
Whatever it is. They lift very heavy.
Any
things.
sprint sport involving females? Yes.
I love that. The long jump.
Track and
Yo,
field.
the
so
hammer,
so
even
there
the
are
hammer.
more.
Even
It's
some
more
of
than
the-
2 or 3, but it's the track and field, weightlifting, and combat sports are worth watching. All
Are
the
you
other
telling
ones
me you don't watch
trash.
the badminton? You never watched the badminton?
You don't
Volleyball?
watch the girls flipping all that Dominique Dawes when they was doing it back in the day? That shit was hard.
Shouldn't be in the Olympics. Definitely amazing and
Gymnastics.
impressive, but should not be in the Olympics.
That was my favorite part.
The
It's a
level of
completely subjective
athleticism.
sport.
So, because people have been, like the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu community is dying for whatever reason for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to be in the Olympics.
Right.
Like they hear it and they're like,
Yeah, it makes the sport more legitimate.
Yeah, it solidifies something.
and it makes it grow.
Would a dude like Gordon Ryan that's already professional not be able to
well,
compete?
but they have the dream team and all that stuff playing in the basketball.
Yeah, that rule
So-
is weird.
But listen, could they make it through all the drug testing? Because
Ooh.
the current state of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, especially with the gi, most of the guys would fail Olympic level drug testing.
Mm.
Yeah, but you're saying that drugs are not used in the Olympics?
I'm not saying they're not used. I'm saying these guys would fail because these guys are
They
failing.
would
They
just
were-
adjust to the same thing everybody else does.
They're currently failing at probably one of the weakest tests. A decent amount of them.
Are there
But
by USADA or what?
IBJJ.
I think they use USADA.
They use USADA, right? IBJJF is catching guys intermittently,
Really?
and they only if you make it to first place. So
Yeah, I think it would be fine. They would just adjust to do whatever everybody else is doing.
So then the Olympic Committee. So you'd have to legitimize the sport, right? Because it's no
They
longer.
were talking from what I heard. So usually what happens is they bring it in as like a side event. It's not a medaled sport.
because they had sambo in the Russian Olympics in
I think
'84.
I think they've had Muay Thai as a side event before.
Okay.
Like they
An exhibition sport, I think. they call
yeah,
it.
so they bring that in just as like a sample. But there's a whole. It's all from what I've understood. It's very like political. You got to grease a lot of palms to get your sport in there.
Do you think it would be so? What from a business standpoint, you think would be beneficial for us?
It would put jiu-jitsu on a like if it was on TV, like more people would be exposed to
I mean, Taekwondo's in the Olympics.
Taekwondo is huge compared to jiu-jitsu. Karate and Taekwondo are 90% of the martial arts market compared to jiu-jitsu.
Right.
So
So you think it would do more for jiu-jitsu than say the UFC has done?
I don't know about that because there would be no real like jiu-jitsu wouldn't really be here.
Right.
So
I don't know how
It would
great of a
be-
platform it would be to elevate. I'm not sure how much more elevation
if it
could occur.
became here's the other thing. If it became an Olympic sport and America had an Olympic champion in jiu-jitsu, people would know his name. It would bring more money into the
How many people know Jordan Burroughs?
a lot of people.
How many?
I don't have an exact number. It's a dumb question.
No, it's not a dumb question
a-
because you said a lot of people
How many
would
people know
know.
Michael Phelps? How many people know Usain Bolt? How many people know
Well, everybody
any
knows
Olympic
them.
Yeah.
Right. So if you had an
Do
American,
you know who Jordan Burroughs is?
No.
But he knew who Michael Phelps was.
Who is Jordan Burroughs?
He's a wrestler from the United States,
Oh, no.
from South Jersey.
I don't even know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to
Okay.
disprove
As
your
a
point.
ex-wrestler, I
understand
still
trying
don't
to
know.
prove it, but it's dumb because. So you're saying that there would be no more exposure if it was in the Olympics and Americans were winning medals, like nobody else, people would just completely forget about it.
So I think it would be statistically insignificant.
Okay. Hold on. But would it do this? Would putting it in the Olympics possibly lead to it being able to be in high school?
Good.
So that would be dope. That would be dope if you could be on a wrestling team or be on a jiu-jitsu team. That would make more sense.
To insinuate that it wouldn't increase the
Value. I get it. Yeah.
like the
Exposure.
exposure of jiu-jitsu and people would stay the same is completely insane. It would take jiu-jitsu to another level. It would just jiu-jitsu is already becoming mainstream. It would just take it even more mainstream.
I think it could lead to schools.
It definitely wouldn't hurt it.
It could lead to school programs and little leagues and things like
Man,
that.
I'd love to. I would love for that to be true. But then you have other sports that are in the Olympics that would never, like there's no judo in high school. right?
Yeah.
You have
Not
plenty
here.
of
They're not here.
right. But you do have jiu-jitsu in high schools in Saudi Arabia and the UAE. They've taken, like they've introduced that into their schooling system without it being in the
You don't feel
Olympics.
like jiu-jitsu is way more tangent to wrestling?
I think the reason why judo is not in like scholastic high school sports is because you look at it, you're like, oh, they're just doing wrestling with a jacket on, right? Like at the end of the
But
day,
I
for the
think that people
uninitiated.
that come out to see wrestling, like high school wrestling, seeing actual finishes besides the pin or a tech fall or
And the other thing is now people watch the UFC, so they know about submissions. So like if they see like a lot when you watch wrestling, you don't see the finishes like you see in the UFC, like a chokehold or submission hold. If you can have that going on, then
it would change
Right.
the world, because what it would do is putting Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in the Olympics could lead to it being in high schools. Now, fighting leagues could scout from school. They'll be looking and being like, this motherfucker right here in 10th grade, keep an eye on him. We want him in the UFC possibly at a certain point.
No, and that's a strong point that I think you're making, is that you can really start scouting athletes a lot earlier and sooner, and like you're saying, maybe even for the UFC and that
Because
kind of
a
thing.
network.
Right? But I mean, I think we're having a problem right now in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and like the kind of the singular siloed art of it, that it's becoming such its own thing that we don't see the progression of the high level jiu-jitsu guy into MMA like we used to, because it used to be the bridge. Brazilian jiu-jitsu was the bridge to MMA, and MMA is where you made money and you proved the effectiveness of Brazilian jiu-jitsu, right? And that, I think, if we want those Brazilian jiu-jitsu athletes to get scouted, we need to start looking at it a bit differently too, where if they're going to make it to the UFC, there has to be some changes into some of the programming of how Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu works, acts, and is taught.
Yeah, because you're basically saying that because you guys have a Gordon Ryan or different people like that, there's an option to be on a high level without striking,
without going in, because he may talk about going into the UFC or whatever, but he doesn't need to, right? Where he seems to be making a ton of money. I don't know. What do you think, Tim, about that?
I think that's good that jiu-jitsu is becoming its own thing. And if it got into the Olympics, that would be even better. It wouldn't stop the people that want to fight from fighting. Like if you want to it's great that if you just want to do jiu-jitsu and not get punched, you can just do that. But if you want to fight, you're going to need to know jiu-jitsu anyway.
Right.
So it's like,
it's like an Olympian jiu-jitsu judoka wrestler is likely not getting into MMA until they've squeezed every ounce out of that sport to move on.
I disagree with that. I think you'll have guys that are just doing it so they can fight.
No. What I'm saying is, if you're good enough to be on your country's Olympic team, then you're likely not going to you're not gonna say, hey, you know what? I'd rather do MMA than go for the next
you
Olympics.
Usually
to make the Olympic team.
that and then jump up to the
Daniel
next.
Cormier.
I mean, it's like that even as an Olympic boxer. You do that until it's like, okay, now it's time for me to go pro once I've done what I needed to do here. Or they fuck you over like they did Floyd Mayweather.
I think you'll have Olympic jiu-jitsu champions, and then you'll have guys that don't need Olympics, just go right in MMA. Just like you have in boxing, just like you have in wrestling.
I agree. I think that would be kind of like you'll have a fork, right? And they'll have to make a decision. Can I make the Olympic team?
It'll be super cool if an Olympic champion is like an Olympic jiu-jitsu champion wants to get into fighting. Then it'll create even more buzz around both of them. You have an Olympic champ in the UFC. Yeah. You have
the people that followed him in the Olympics would watch his debut in the UFC.
That's why you got guys that follow Henry Cejudo, right? Using him as an example. Yeah. Olympic champion, great wrestler, great UFC champ. Cringy, but
I think that article was fake.
But it's still, the idea of jiu-jitsu in the Olympics has always been thrown around.
I think that's why the IBJJF has become so professional in the last several years.
Right. So they'd be at the forefront of trying to create.
I think they're definitely trying to.
They're the top.
But wouldn't they lose a lot of power because they have to cede some power to the International Olympic Committee?
Yeah, they would. Or would those people just slide over? Like would those people, what I mean?
And then because then the international, the governing body of judo isn't always run by the Japanese, or it's not the same people, so it becomes more international, and different people start affecting what the rules are, how the sport is.
That's been their goal from the beginning, is to create something big enough to sell. then they can sell it to somebody because now it's
because there would be like a there'd be like a world federation, and then it'd be like a Japanese judo federation.
Because then that would make it a lot.
Federation.
You could standardize certain sets of things, right? If you have that all powerful governing body.
Right.
So
then, how do you guys feel about that? That if the all powerful governing body makes decisions or calls, how it would affect you at the the school level?
I mean, I don't think it really would. Just like it doesn't affect Taekwondo schools at a certain level.
Yeah, the majority of the people that train aren't doing it to compete.
For the most part, right? Yeah, they're doing it because they want exercise, self-defense.
Yeah. Like I have a good amount of guys that compete and express interest in competing.
Yeah, you have a very powerful in-house team.
It's a small percentage of the actual students.
But that's where the school part would make it, because it's not like you can join the wrestling team as just an activity. You have to compete.
Yeah.
So it's like if that's it. So that's why I want that for Christian, because it's just a part of it. When you do it, you're going to compete.
Yeah.
Period. Yeah. And to bring jujitsu into schools, it forces competition.
So this idea of taking like a singular martial art, we'll use Muay Thai and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as it's kind of the two main arts that really show their effectiveness in MMA. But how are we, outside of it being in the Olympics, right? And you have a Muay Thai school, or you have a school that's very heavy in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but you want to start transitioning into mixed martial arts because either your students are asking for that, or you want to kind of start testing those waters. Right? What do you start doing as a school owner to structure the training and the teaching to be able to maximize the MMA competition for that for your competitor if you're either a Muay Thai school or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu school?
What's the question?
So if you're only teaching Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and you want to transition into MMA, what do you do? As this, not the student, as the school owner.
You want to transition the entire school to become an MMA school?
You want to transition so that you can have people compete in MMA.
You need to add striking. You need to add wrestling. But at the same time, there's very few schools that are just, they have everything there. And what I mean is, like, most people, no matter where they train, are going to several different places. They're going to a boxing coach. They're going to a wrestling place. They're going to a jiu-jitsu school. And you might have, like at my place, I have jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai. But I would also try to get my guy to go spar with other people from other gyms and stuff. It's very rare that you have a
like the super
talking about like ATT
or AKA or
places like that.
Yeah. But we don't even need to look at it on a professional level. Say if I'll use myself as an example, right? Like I want to start getting back into MMA, right? But the decision I've been is I want to go as far as at the amateur level. I don't want to deal with anybody that's a pro fighter, or if they eventually want to go pro, then they'll have to go somewhere else. Because I don't want to do that, right? And I offer Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and I offer Muay Thai. So
yeah, I've been thinking about changing one or two of the Muay Thai classes I have a week to an MMA class where it's less just Muay Thai and more all around striking mixed with takedowns and stuff.
Okay.
Separate from jiu-jitsu and separate from Muay Thai. Just it wouldn't be like ground and pound and stuff. It would just be striking with takedowns.
Right. So what I've been doing since I've kind of made this conscious decision that I want to move into that is I like having a day where it's jiu-jitsu or a class that's just jiu-jitsu. I like having a class that's just Muay Thai. And then when it comes time to sparring, stand-up sparring, right? Full gear, headgear, shin pads, like, okay, punch, kick, knees, elbows, that kind of stuff. And then gear comes off, little gloves, boxing and takedowns, like grapple boxing, as John Danaher would say. And then so then this is where I inject myself even more. So it's not really a class where I'm coaching the guys. Hey, you just did this, let's back out. These are the major MMA issues with backing out of a clinch with your head down, so forth and so on. Because I think it's kind of tough to have like an MMA class. I think MMA coaching is a lot easier to do, especially if you have jiu-jitsu siloed out and you have Muay Thai siloed out.
Is it because it's too much to cover?
It's too many things.
Yeah. So I'd rather you have a basic, like, how to do jiu-jitsu, how to do Muay Thai, then we could tweak.
And how to put it together.
Yeah.
But why wouldn't you have the ground and pound part when you say
that can be covered in jiu-jitsu? or I could just change one of the jiu-jitsu classes to and I do that. I still have like I'll do like once in a while I'll do like combat jiu-jitsu where it's jiu-jitsu with striking.
Right. So then we go from the like free out, little gloves, punching and takedowns to clinch, dirty boxing and takedowns. Right. And then groundwork, that's where the ground and pound comes in. So you don't even need to change. Like if you, I believe, you know, and we'll see how this works out once we start getting people competing again, is that structuring the sparring in a certain way can kind of cover all the different aspects of it.
Because you're already in position to go for a submission or something if you're on top, but you're also going to show like your other options if you can ground and pound is basically what you're saying.
Yep. Yeah. And the like just a lot of times when you're doing jiu-jitsu, you there's no consequence for giving up position in jiu-jitsu if you go for submission. You know, so you can do all kinds of crazy shit. You can give up like top position to drop back for a leg lock or something, which in grappling means almost nothing, but in a fight could like cost you your life.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
and those are like I'm talking, and that's when the coach intervenes right then and there. It's like, hey, and now you need to think about it. It's been really interesting the last couple of weeks that we've started folding it in because it's so much less complicated on a technical jiu-jitsu level, but then it just becomes way more complicated on a combat level. Right? It's like, oh, the things that we do, you know, you can't do these things. It's kind of a simple example is if you take somebody's back in MMA and you expose them to the ceiling. Well, if you don't triangle your legs, you run the risk of that guy spinning and turning on top of you. Mm-hmm. Right? Where in a jiu-jitsu match, like Tim was saying, it's not a big deal. If he spins on top of you, you still have all your jiu-jitsu moves. But now in an MMA fight, you're getting elbowed, you're getting beat up. And I'm like, man, make him eat the mat. You're looking at the floor, he's looking at the floor. So yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see this, you know, moving away from just sport jiu-jitsu and implementing the MMA back into what we're doing.
Yeah, I've been funny you said, because I've been playing around with that idea too, as far as like changing some of the classes to more MMA style instead of just jiu-jitsu or Muay Thai.
Right.
Incorporating the mixed martial arts stuff.
Well, it's good to see that we're on the same wavelength there, buddy.
Yeah. About that.
Yeah. So and I'm very adamant about kind of taking them to an amateur level because I think somebody that is satisfied with fighting to an amateur level or whatever, or if I'm satisfied with them getting an amateur, is someone that can still be successful and have a career, have a full-time job, and doesn't become a major problem at your school.
I don't necessarily even know if I want any fighters. Like if I'm gonna corner somebody, they would have to prove to me that they're like incredibly dedicated. Like, I don't want to, because it's different than I don't want to be responsible for taking somebody into a fight and having them get fucked up and knocked out because, you know, like they show up to class sometimes, but they took a fight on their own. I think.
Oh yeah, no.
Attract a different kind of.
I agree with you. I think these guys have to bubble up through your martial arts programs, right? And I've always said it that I if your goal is to fight, it's probably not what I want to hear. Your goal is to get really good at martial arts, and if that takes you through fighting, that level of proof, which harkening back to last week's episode, I disagree with most of you except for JB, because you don't fight, you don't take a wrestling match and call it a fight.
Well, we all agreed.
Yeah, by the end.
I listen,
but he didn't listen to the end.
I did, but I'm pointing out that you were initially wrong and you continue to be wrong.
But we all
and you only became right when you agree with JB.
We all agreed. So it's like,
and unless and hold on, and the stipulations, and the stipulations was also as long as we didn't slam the person on hard objects, because you can't tell me I'm not in a fight if I grab a dude and bang his head through this window, bust his head through this chair.
You are in a fight if you are in a cage and somebody kicks your finger off.
For certain.
Yes.
I would have lost my fucking mind.
Did you see the guy's reaction to it?
Yeah. What's wrong with him? He's a psycho.
Yeah.
He's a psychopath.
He just looked at him.
Did you see the video?
I don't know what you're talking about.
So I sent it to you.
The guy lost his finger in the fight.
Guy lost his finger in a fight.
You sure you sent that?
I sent it to you. I sent it to him.
You guys watched the fight?
I watched at post. Yeah. But so it dislocates his finger off of a roundhouse kick.
Right.
So he had his hands open, catches the kick. finger gets bent back. He's like, I think he thinks he jammed his finger. He's pull it, and he goes back to fighting. In between rounds, in between rounds 1 and 2, his finger's still there.
Yeah, he just kind of checks it, and like I guess he doesn't want to put attention on it so that his coach doesn't stop it or whatever the case. He kind of plays it down. He plays it down. He's fucking with it, but then he's in the corner normal. This motherfucker's a warrior, dog.
And then the next round, they're grappling and some hand fighting occurs, and his finger gets ripped off.
Listen, wait, but back up, Marco.
Because at first I was like, okay, this is like, oh yeah, he got his finger kicked off. You're telling me his fucking finger came off
his body. Listen, all the way.
So
Marco's leaving out the part where the fucking referee is a dickhead. The referee's a dickhead. The dude is grabbing all in his fucking glove.
I think that's when it came off.
Yes, he severed it with the glove, bro.
They couldn't find the finger. They make an announcement. Has anyone seen the finger?
Yeah, they're looking all over for the
They're
finger.
looking under the cage. They're looking in the corner. It was folded this way, the wrong way. Completely, like this tendon completely cut. All you could see was bone. He was asking the corner guy, tape it up. I'm going to go out and fight. Represented Canada in the Olympics in 2012, Russian kid.
Yeah.
Whole nother level.
This motherfucker.
Russian kid.
30. when you're 48, the guy is 38 the kid.
Wow.
Crazy.
That's
crazy.
Outrageous.
Unbelievable.
It reminds me a little bit of remember what's his face broke his arm? He had his
Tim Sylvia?
Yeah.
Yes. And he said, fuck that, we'll fight now.
He wanted to keep going.
That's his famous line.
I mean, a lot of people did that. Paige Van Zandt did that. This is different. His finger was inside of his glove, bro.
As they say, the white meat. You can see the white meat in the bone.
Yeah.
You know the white meat?
We're trying to help you out, man. That's all right. All right,
More black stuff.
He might be the toughest guy I've ever come across in mixed martial arts.
This is the fucking toughest guy.
Yeah?
No, yeah, he's disturbing. What is wrong with him? Bro, if I look at my hand and my finger's missing,
you see a bone.
And then they're saying, has anybody seen the finger? He doesn't even know his finger's in the glove.
And he just walks out without finding his finger. He just walks away. He walked out of the cage and just left without
They found it at the emergency room.
He was ready to be like, well, I don't have a finger now.
I'm good.
So how was it in the glove?
Because the way the guy grabbed his hand.
The dude was pulling. You know how they got the inside? The dude was pulling it and made it like your hoodie. Like this goes flip over you.
A hockey fight. Yeah, a hockey fight of his hand.
Yes.
Yeah.
And and he shouldn't have been able to do that. Everyone could see it. The fucking ring, the people that's calling the fight could see it. He's right there.
And he's telling the ref, he's like,
what
he's looking at
organization is this?
CFFC. Just happened in Philly. It happened in Philly. Yeah. So that's likely the worst injury I've ever seen in MMA. Probably not the most devastating because if they get that, I've had a bunch of hand and tendon surgeries. If they get to it right, and Jefferson has the greatest hand surgeons in the United States, so he's in good hands, as they say.
Yeah,
right.
Breaking shins through the skin is kind of wild to me too.
I think that's worse. Fingers.
Now, but
he can do everything he was doing the day before, basically.
Incorrect. You are wrong.
What? Why not?
You tore.
Was he a southpaw?
No, but dude, you tear the tendons.
That's what it is.
Just can't use his hand.
Bro, being able to walk. Hold on, no. Anything in your legs is worse than anything in your arms.
You put a plate, you're good to go. A plate, that double come at
bro.
They plate it up,
bro.
That's orthopedic.
I feel like you'll still not be as afraid to throw a full punch as you are to do a leg kick, a shin kick after you
with titanium plates in there.
So
still,
you
bro,
shatter your shin like that, like Anderson Silva did.
Yeah,
you can't walk for a while.
Oh no, listen.
Did he stop kicking?
He's a fucking psychopath. He keeps
didn't
losing
come back for like a year and a half.
That is his job, though. His job is to kick people.
But he's a nut and he keeps losing. Hold on, is he taking another fight? Some nut shit.
Boxing. He's fighting.
He's fighting this dude's son.
Chavez Jr.
He's fighting Chavez Jr. Bro. He's going to get beat the fuck up, bro. This dude's not that good either. Chavez Jr. He's not.
I mean, he was a world champion.
He's good. He's just
listen. Hold on. Wait.
He's not his dad.
Nowhere. He doesn't have nowhere near what his dad had, but he had all of the promotion. that his dad had in some beyond, but he wasn't him. And the people they was lining him up with, who'd he beat?
Nobody.
He had a really good fight against that guy, Sergio Martinez. Dropped him in the 12. Like, it was a very close fight.
How old was Sergio Martinez? Because Sergio Martinez seems like he was an old motherfucker.
But it was 78 years old.
It was still when he was in his prime. His prime came late because Sergio Martinez didn't start boxing.
He was
like
older.
30.
He had bad.
He went the distance. Went the distance.
What's
with Canelo.
amazing? People forget about him. He was one of the only other. Yep, he was one of the only other pay-per-view fighters during the Mayweather era.
Nah, man,
only guy.
Yo, well, he did the what's his face. Woo. Sat him down. What was that kid's name? Paul something?
Paul Williams.
Paul Williams.
Oh,
yeah,
Williams.
Yeah, Paul Williams. He had the bad motorcycle.
Yeah, man.
Shin's worse though. Bottom line, Shin is fucking worse. Take my finger off.
Now you know what's probably the worst.
So what's the worst injury you've ever seen?
Sean O'Malley's ankle.
No.
When he
stop it.
Remember when he got kicked in his leg and sprained his ankle?
Yeah,
he got taken out.
What's the worst injury?
Don't talk shit. Hold on. Don't talk shit about him now. You on his top. Hold on. You on his top now. You know, Sean. You talking about Sugar Shane? Yeah. Sugar Sean? Yeah. Sugar Sean did his fucking thing.
He looked good.
No, that's what you wanted.
It was great.
I said he was going to win. He's fighting a guy that was 1-4 in his last fight.
But he did. So, he believes in himself.
I got you.
I'm proud of him.
Until he gets kicked in the leg again.
Nah, he made it through that ankle injury, bro.
He did.
That was the worst I've ever seen.
Well, but what's the worst you've ever seen in person, like live? Yeah, like you saw with your own eyes.
Kai Serm's teeth getting knocked out.
Against Ariel Sepulveda?
Yeah.
Were you at the tournament with us in Virginia where the kid got his toe ripped off?
Whoa.
No, but I saw Wilson Hayes heel hook a guy, and the guy got a spiral fracture. Like the bone came like through it was similar to the Anderson Silva where you see the bone not pop through the skin,
but pushing through.
Really?
Yeah, we were at a tournament in Virginia, and on a takedown, this guy's like you saw the bone sticking out, and the meat of the toe is hanging to the right of it. So it was like bone, toe.
That happened to John Jones against Chael Sonnen, and John Jones just walked out of the cage.
Yeah,
didn't get carried out on
another
a
psychopath. He also walks out of a car crashes and shit like that.
Yeah, I love it at the press conference. They yell out "dick pills." He goes, "No more of those." Anyway, so you said what was the injury? You said the spiral fracture.
Sean O'Malley's.
How about you? What's the worst injury you've ever seen?
I don't know.
No.
Yeah, I don't know if I can remember anything.
In person?
Like with your own eyes. Yeah.
I mean, all the concussions count, like the knockouts and shit.
I mean,
you gotta see I saw. That's what made me be a wrestler. Is I went to a wrestling match in like 6th grade, and I saw somebody get their arm like dislocated, and the way it was like hanging and shit, and I was like, I gotta do it.
You want to do that?
Oh, yeah? You want to do that to somebody else?
Yeah. Signed up immediately, and fast forward, as a grown man, it happened to me,
right?
And it was fucking terrible.
Yeah, shoulder dislocation. That's the worst injury I've ever had happen to me. Is a full shoulder dislocation. Having to have surgery to fix it. That's why this right arm doesn't work.
Yeah, it's like a chip missing now in the part that
is that the worst injury you've ever had? Is the shoulder?
For me? Yeah, dog, crazy. Like my boy was about to throw up driving me to the hospital because he's like could see. Like it's just hanging, and then the bone is just poking out and shit like that. It was crazy.
Every time I went to go stand up, I almost passed out. I had to walk into the emergency room, dragging my knuckles on the floor.
The doctor, when he told me, because the first time they were like, "Oh, nah, we got to put him to sleep." They put me to sleep. I wake up and my shit is just back. Another time it popped because it'll pop out now when shit happens. My shit popped out. I went in there. I'm thinking they're going to put same routine. They're going to put me to sleep. I'm waiting in there, and it's like 4 dudes come in, like they're about to jump me. I'm like, yo, so they walk in, and it's like, what's up? It's like, we're going, okay, man, I'm going to pop it back in. I'm like, hold on, nah. And one dude like grabbed my wrist. They all grabbed me. Yo, this dude looked like Satan himself when he grabbed my fucking arm, dog. And when he popped it back, he turned into Jesus.
One of my students, Matumbo, he dislocated his shoulder. I took him to the emergency room. I said, when they put it back in, it's going to be orgasmic. How good it feels.
It's like ultimate pain.
Yes, ultimate pleasure.
It's no like part where it's like the pain wore off.
No.
It's instant. Super pain.
Really? To stop.
What the fuck?
Crazy.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
This is incredible.
Tim, you tore both your biceps, right? Or the same one twice? Was that painful when you did
Not
it?
really.
No.
It didn't really hurt. Just sucked.
Gotcha. What was the worst? Is you think that's the worst
So it was
injury
the
you've had?
And it was the worst in that it kept me out of action for months.
Right.
That was worse. But as far as pain goes, it wasn't bad. I mean, I've broken all my fingers and toes a bunch of times. Like,
You know what was crazy? And Tim told me about it, and I didn't believe him. One of the most painful injuries I ever had: corneal abrasion.
yeah, that was the worst.
Oh no, that something with your eyes has to be the worst shit
The
ever.
most pain. Was
Corneal abrasion.
Oh no, oh yeah, you know my worst one was my butthole. That's not close. I break both my fucking
is that
arms.
considered an injury?
Butthole? Yes.
How did you injure it?
I injured it in class, man. You know what happened, bro. It was fuck, man.
Yeah, he had a blowout, butthole blowout.
I mean, you guys have said this before. I didn't know this is a
Yeah.
This is real, bro. I was like, why do you think I sit on this, bro? This is real.
First of all, I don't pay attention to what you're doing.
What about you, JB? Other than your degenerative hip,
that's literally is the worst right now.
Yeah.
But well, you know, I had that MCL. The MCL injury at the tournament that one time. That sucked too because it affects my walking. But right now, realistically, the hip is probably the worst thing.
Yeah, the hip's got to be bad.
Nah, it's really bad. It's bad.
So I have a question from a student. He sent it to me in private. He was asking me for some advice, and I asked him, was it okay if I shared it with the podcast? And he said, of course. So I'm going to share.
Name names.
Nah, he's a good kid, right? So, hey man,
good 40-year-old kid.
No, he's in high school. Hey man, answer this whenever you have time. I just wanted to explain to you why my attendance has been so spotty lately. The truth is that I'm not sure about doing martial arts anymore. So the thing is that I often feel embarrassed about working with adults because of my age. Whenever I mess up, I just figure they think that I'm just some dumb kid. Another problem is that I'm worried about hurting people. This is why I don't kick as hard as I can. This is also why I don't really do jiu-jitsu anymore. I slammed a guy a few times and I just felt so damn bad about it. I just don't think that it's in my nature to fight when I'm not angry. Am I making any sense right now? What do you make of all this? What would you say to this young man, Tim?
I would say you'd be a lot less concerned about what people thought of you if you realize how little they did. You know what I mean? Like he's his. You know what I mean? Like
when you're in high school,
yeah,
right.
But like remember that,
yeah,
because for the most part, like older guys when they're working with a kid, they're like, "This is cool. Like I'm getting to help this kid out." Like
you see a little bit of yourself when you were that age,
and it's fun for an older guy to help out a younger person.
Oh, really? Okay, interesting. I like that dynamic of an older guy, younger man.
You do?
Oh, I mean, interestingly coming from you.
He hung himself, bro.
Hey,
that's good. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah. Cool. But go ahead. So tell us more about this dynamic.
It's cool and it's rewarding as an older person to help out younger people, especially in the martial arts.
So that's the advice you would give this young man?
You heard my advice.
Go ahead.
No, you heard it. It's recorded. I don't need to say it again. It's been recorded. Why would I repeat it?
He wanted you to go more.
If the guy wants to hear it again, he can hit that thing on the podcast and you skip back 15
See,
seconds.
no, what he wanted you to say was something rude that I expected you to say, like, well, it is not cut, then you're not cut. You're not cut from the claws of a real warrior.
You're not hellfish ready.
And then he said, so that his first one, he's self-conscious. And that's, you're young. You'll get over it.
Right.
But just know that for the most part, the cool guys in class, the guys that you want to emulate, those guys enjoy working with you and helping you.
For sure. Yeah, I agree with you.
And then for he's afraid of hurting people?
Yes.
Is this kid like a physical specimen, like monster?
No.
Then don't worry about it. Unless he's hurt people before. But that's pretty common when they first start throwing strikes. If they're doing like glove on glove stuff, they tend to go like very light.
Right.
So sometimes I just grab and I'm like, hold your hand up, and I just punch it. All right.
A
lot of times you do that and you just like you grab somebody, like give him a pop on the side of the head, and I'm like, you okay? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, all right, see, there you go. He's fine.
He'll be okay.
Yeah.
He's here for a reason.
You're not gonna kill anybody. You're not gonna die.
But it's good. And if you're
and I like these are all like I really like that he came to me with this.
Yeah. And if you're worried about hurting people, that's good. It means you probably won't.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And if he's rough, he's rough. So I when I responded back to him and JB was there when I was writing this, I go, let's approach each one separately. You're young, but not the youngest. And most of the guys look at you when you mess up as a beginner more so than because you're young. We all went through this beginner phase. The students want you to get better so that you become a more capable martial artist and partner, right? As for hurting people, remember, everyone is here of their own free will. They understand the risks associated. Hurting people is part of what we do. Hurting them is temporary. What we try to avoid is injuring them, a more permanent state. Everyone you work with is here to learn combat and all know what is going to happen. I go, it's best to be able to learn how to fight when calm. At the end of the day, the emotion of anger is exhausting, but the techniques of fighting can be used in a calm state. Don't look at practice as fighting, but an opportunity to execute techniques.
Good, man. It almost sounded like you know what you're talking
Yeah, right. It was pretty amazing. But I was really surprised
That
because
was
the
a great
kid,
response.
like
Real
for a
good response.
16-year-old kid to be this self-aware, to ask a question like that and take the answer and then come to class the next day once I gave him the answer. I was really, really proud of the kid, but then also really,
You were rewarded because you helped him out.
yeah, I helped this young
And
man
there
out.
it is.
Yeah, it was very nice. So I have another young man sent me a text. And
You get a lot of young men.
yeah, it's got a
sending
lot
you
of
texts.
lot of
That's
young men
interesting.
texting me. Yeah, it's all I don't know what's going on with all that, but let me see if I can find that text. There it is. I don't train here anymore. Stop sending me the automated bullshit to my mom. Fuck Matt. Fuck Bill. See you later, Italiano man.
You know this kid?
Nick the Bull. Remember Nick the Bull? Throat kick?
No.
You know Nick. They said he trained before. Tall Taekwondo kid.
Oh,
From
he left. Yeah.
apparently he left. I had no idea he left. But I guess the billing company, there's some issue with the billing, and they've been contacting his mom.
Real?
I don't train here anymore. Stop sending the automated bullshit to my mom. Fuck Matt. Fuck Bill.
Who's Matt?
See you later. McCabe he used to work at Primal Nutrition. And see you later, Italiano man.
What?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think you've ever met Nick
No,
the
I
Bull.
know this.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's,
and like
that's disappointing.
very.
That's very disappointing.
So my response, hey, Nick, hope you're well. Just call Member Solutions at 888-277-4409 and have your mom advise them that you're quitting. Then I finished with, you have talent and some gifts. Hopefully you use them and achieve things worth achieving. Good luck on your journey. Yeah. You know,
You really want
yeah, go fuck yourself, you dumb little motherfucker.
What is that?
Yeah,
son?
yeah,
That's
That's
I mean, that's a sign of
And-
his it's not necessarily
improper training at home. But there's
Yeah.
there's two kids similar ages, two different approaches.
I like that kid too. I thought he had a
Yeah,
lot of potential.
I thought so too.
When I saw him, I was like, okay, there's something. And on the mat, he came off very nice. At least when I would see him, he seemed nice. You know what I mean? But
I think
damn, son.
yeah.
Yo, man, good. Yo, I wish you luck, Playboy.
Yeah,
Be
yeah,
careful,
exactly.
please. Wow, that's crazy.
So we're on to hate on site. Yeah.
You don't have any.
You guys go first.
You don't have
I
any
know.
questions? Don't you normally have?
I
a bunch of-
didn't do it.
No, when he runs his show, he crowdsources.
Oh,
it.
is that how?
He crowdsources
all
the
right,
show.
Right. What? I'm first. You first.
No, because
first.
I've
What's damn, I had one and I forgot what it was.
Dev, you got a hate on site?
Hate on site.
Yeah. I hate Home Depot smocks.
Wood.
Anybody with one on, terrible customer service. Yeah, this shit sucks. I hate fucking sliding glass doors. I hate thin fucking hallways, narrow ass fucking hall. How the fuck you supposed to bring furniture down a fucking 27-inch goddamn hallway? How you supposed to do that?
Man, that's about sounds like 7 hate on sites, but
Oh yeah, they all relate to the same shit. I hate shingles. I hate everything, motherfucker.
Right.
I hate windows. Yeah.
You just hate building
how about you,
structures.
Tim? What do you got hate on site?
This is not martial arts related.
Oh well, Devon's didn't seem to be so.
No, but and this first time this happened, my lovely wife told me about it. She went to Wawa, so we really like Coke Energies, the Coke Energy drinks.
Yeah.
Okay.
And now they've recently come out with a Coke coffee drink. So it's like Coke with coffee flavor in it.
Right.
And they had a sugar-free version. So my wife got some out of the Wawa.
Lovely Nicolette.
Yeah, she walked up to the counter and they're like, we don't sell this.
Oh, we don't.
And I was
Oh,
like,
you give it
I
away
wasn't
for
there,
free.
so she told me this secondhand. And then so I was like, well, what did you do? She's like, well, they had to put it back. I was like, no. I was like, they don't sell it, then it's free. Like,
Yeah, it's
you just take it and walk out. It's like, so
okay.
you're not selling, you're just giving it away. It's a display. It's a
Right.
free sample. Like, you just walk out with it. You don't just.
They put it
replicate
back or she put it back.
She gave it back to them.
Okay, all
and
right.
They put it back, or they I guess they took it took it down because they didn't have it in the system yet. And then I went to a Wawa the other day and I experienced the same thing. But
how did you handle it?
I was like, well, what are we going to do? I was like, I want these. And the guy said, just go grab one of the other flavors and I'll ring that up. I got my.
Well, you paid for it.
Yeah.
So they do sell them.
No, they don't sell those.
So they sold a representation of it.
They in their inventory, they sold it was a Coke Energy vanilla with sugar in it.
Okay.
But I got a Coke coffee sugar.
How is it?
Great.
Yeah.
I might have one in my car for you.
All right, awesome. My hate on site is disrespectful teenagers.
Well, hey man.
Yeah.
Listen, that's a good one.
JB?
My hate on site would be because I'm trying to figure it out right now.
Yeah.
You know, I had one earlier, and it had
You
to
have
do with
so much hate in you.
I know.
I do, right? I hate
Sometimes it's hard.
I'm trying to keep it
Paradox of choice. You have too many options. It's hard to.
I hate, bullshit martial art instructors. That's really what I hate. Guys that try to recruit basically an army to worship them. That's all it is. So that's really one of
the cult.
Yeah, like that cult mentality is pretty much. Actually, that and then the instructors that sell it to you like this is the best thing ever. I had lovely guy years ago, and this guy was like, you see this move? It's nothing you can do. It's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
And it was so I would think online of like, yo, the rear naked. Like, oh, that's it. Until you fucking can't do anything, you meet someone that you can't rear naked. You're like, what is going on?
Right.
But before that, when they're like selling you this, selling you that.
Do you hate that they're selling it to you or that you bought it at some point in your life?
I probably hate the fact that I bought it and then I can't. Then I gotta hate them.
Then you can't unbuy it.
That's
I'm a hate on the salesman too, motherfucking.
The guy sell wood.
Just the fucking dude.
Guy.
Yeah, whatever that is. Power. Shout them out. What's they called?
It's Power Home Remodel.
Listen, these motherfuckers come to my fucking place and tell me, for like 7 windows, some siding, and a fucking sliding glass door or no French doors, excuse me, patio doors.
Right. There you go.
They told me that it was going to be $48,000 fucking dollars, and they came with a fucking iPad and showed me this satellite view of every house that they did in my neighborhood. And the green ones mean that we did it twice, that we've been back more than once, and the blue ones mean that they did it once. And this motherfucker comes in with that, but this is the thing that pissed me off because I knew he was preying on my girl's naiveness. When he comes back in the house, he's just like, now listen, when are you guys ready to do this? No, without giving me the price. I wrote down, because, when he's outside, I'm bickering with my girl. What the fuck we got this fucking dude over here? You already know they're going to hit us with these motherfucking white man prices. Right? That's what I told her. I was like, it's going to be like fucking 30 grand. Watch. Wow. Watch when they come back. It's going to be 30 grand.
You lowballed yourself.
I lowballed myself, right? I'm like, I want to see what it's like for the professionals. Number one, the other dudes are professionals, fully licensed everything, but they don't got a complexion. I'm just saying, that's what it looked like.
Yeah, but wait.
Hold on.
Where is your girlfriend from?
Camden, New Jersey.
But what's her?
Yeah, she's Puerto Rican. She's Puerto Rican. So we got some Hispanic guys working on it, on fully licensed official. You know what I mean? But the companies have that prestige. You got the iPad, the satellite view,
sizzle,
all this shit. Right. Yeah, everything looks great.
That's where the extra 17 grand came in.
Exactly. So the dude comes in, he says, when were you guys planning on getting this done? And I was like, well, first off, what's the quote on the price? So he's looking, I was like, I could do this for 48 grand.
Ooh, thank you.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, yeah, well, we'll think about it. You give him that answer. He's like, now, this is what I got to tell you, man. It doesn't matter if you go with us. If you don't go with us, please just get it done. Oh man, listen.
Man.
You're doing all this beautiful stuff in your home. It's not going to matter. I mean, it's just water pouring into your home. It's the way he was describing it was that my house was butt naked. No, like I didn't have an inspection. You know what I'm saying? Like all of this shit. He had the most concerned look for the well-being of the inner workings of my house and tried to scare my girl.
They did that to my mother on some sort of thing in her chimney that they said that
sounds like a nice guy.
Yeah. So we're gonna wrap up with this. All right, it's a new segment that I'm introducing right now.
Let's go.
You're in organized crime and you need muscle, and you can pick between these two famous fighters, and you have to tell me why.
And Ngannou.
He's not. I'm going to give you the two fighters you get to pick between. All right. Royce Gracie, Mike Tyson, and why? Who and why?
Mike Tyson, because he looks more intimidating, and he would be more willing to go the extra mile and murder somebody if I needed it done. Whereas Royce Gracie, like he looks like a dork. He's not intimidating, and if push comes to shove, I don't think he would be willing to go that extra mile either.
Dev?
Yeah, I mean, the answer is simple. It's Mike Tyson. I'm not fucking around. Mike Tyson really does that. He killed people before.
JB?
My first instinct was Mike. Yeah, like Royce, like is like looks like a dentist. Like,
now I'm with you. Mike Tyson unanimously. As if I needed muscle, you don't even need. You just have him parked in.
That's it, bro.
You just park him in the car.
Mike Ngannou.
No. We don't ruin it. This is our bit now. We gotta go. All right.
We're gonna keep going up.
All right,
next week it's Mike.
No.
It's gonna be, he'll find another one.
What we're gonna do is we'll put a poll out and we'll see what the fans think.
Right.
Mike or Royce? I go Mike.
I'd be interested to see how anybody could justify it.
Well, I'm just saying. I mean, you never know what people.
Like,
what I want somebody to wrestle around with a guy that owes me money.
Yeah.
I'm with you, but some people are goofy.
Yo, do that kick and then slide in. Do that.
But all you got to do is say, see him. If you don't pay me, he's collecting the money. I can't do that with Royce.
Wait. Is Royce wearing a gi?
Yes.
He always comes around. Like when I
Royce, yeah, exactly.
When I go to collect money, he comes in with his gi.
Mike's wearing his boxing trunks.
And the big UFC check.
No, Mike is wearing boxing trunks, no socks, black boxing boots. Royce is wearing his gi.
With like a chunk of somebody's ear.
Listen, man, that's what. Did we talk about the predictions? Who was right?
My show.
Oh, no, we all picked Stipe.
Yeah, but
your heart was with Ngannou. Right?
Yes,
but your brain was. We were all wrong.
Gotcha.
We're not done with the predictions.
No, we're not talking about the predictions.
Peace.